So good to have you here, everybody. How y'all doing? How you doing? All right, that's good. You know me, I just try to get straight to the point. You know, teens in Louisiana juvenile facility are being sent to Angola prison. Experts say it's not only cruel, but it could also violate the law. I would imagine so. I don't got to be in Louisiana to know that this shit sounds like a lot of laws are being broken, right? And it sounds like it's to show the children a point or a lesson, right? And it sounds like um the local residents where the facility is located is kind of like, it's to appease them. It's for them, and I'm gonna get into it right here. Right, following a slew of alarming headlines about violence, mismanagement, and frequent escapes from Louisiana's juvenile lockup, the state's governor offered a new solution this week, temporarily moving teens to the notorious Angola prison for adults. Right now, because it's gonna mention it inside this article, but I remember being in a supermax out in Connecticut called Northern, right? And I remember the system like sending inmates out of state. Some, wind up getting killed or killing other people. And, these things, you sending them away from their family and all of that as if this was a federal institution. Like, in the feds, that seemed logical. It just didn't seem logical sending somebody who was incarcerated in whatever state they in, 2, 3 states away to Virginia and all of these different places. I just couldn't understand that. Right. So once again, as I'm sitting here, and I understand the correctional facility, the Department of Corrections, and I know that they are, for me at least, from my experience with the system, they are 1,000 times more corrupt than the police, right? And that's pretty hard to be. It's pretty hard to be more corrupt than the police department. But yes, I feel that they're 100 times more because once you are labeled a criminal, the eyes are off of you. You can go to places like Attica where there's no cameras, there's nothing for anybody to see the actions that's being performed on you. Because once you have been labeled, guilty, because shit, you don't even have to be labeled guilty, and society already tosses you to the side. So once you are labeled guilty, that's it. You know what I mean? You are forgotten, and only those who have, the fortunates of family members willing to travel x amount of distance. They have you all up in the mountains and all type of things in white towns, and you got to go through these white people, and they try to make it very uncomfortable and threatening for the people to come visit you. So yes, the correctional facility is white America when nobody is looking. The police force is white America, strutting their stuff, but there's still eyes on them, especially in today's time with cameras. Before, the 60s, it was just white America. And when you bring in these civil right laws and all of that, then it was white America being passive aggressive, right? But when you are in the correctional facility, it's white America being white America again, right? So let me get into this, right? Um, the decision to temporarily, because it's like because the following slew of alarm, right? Governor, right, temporarily moving teens to the notorious Angola prison for adults. The decision tramples modern principles of juvenile justice and could lead to violations in federal laws. Youth advocates, I'm a youth advocate, I'm not a lawyer, lawyers and experts in juvenile corrections say. Glenn Holt, a former top official in Louisiana's juvenile justice system, who is now service as the deputy director of Arkansas's juvenile justice agency, said, moving kids to your adult maximum security prison campus where you send adults to die, he said, is the worst juvenile justice policy decision probably ever made in modern time. Right? And I agree. In modern time, um, as far as juvenile justice is concerned, I'm gonna say that Governor Bell Edwards, right, a Democrat, and this is why just because when you say you're not a Republican, black people in their mind, they think automatically you're a Democrat. It's like saying, no, I'm not Catholic, so automatically you must be Muslim. They just think you cannot stand with none of that. Or you spirituality, you woke. Like, no, I'm none of those things. You know what I mean? Right? Announces the decision to move the teens to the Louisiana State Penitentiary at Angola on Tuesday after a series of what they label chaotic fights, injuries, and breakouts from the Bridge Center for Youth near New Orleans, including an alleged carjacking by an escaped teen on Sunday, during which a man was shot. Right, so here's the part that I'm making. Residents in the surrounding communities say they're living in fear and have called for the facility to be shut down. So, to me, this sounds like, giving the community what they want by taking, a group that they feel are the troublemakers and making an example out of them. That's how the correctional facility works. If you are giving a CO a hard time, they'll have a shakedown, and hopefully you ain't one of the tough guys. And then, even if you are, you have built this hate towards you, and then they let the inmates police for the police, meaning y'all handle him, they make you, and it's because of him. And the cowards, they not really there for any type of change. They was there already for gang banging, killing, murdering, raping their own people. So they are the ones who go in there and get on the yes sir, no sir, because the things that they were doing on the street was to obtain white America. So if they're in there, they're gonna still be worshiping white America. So if you are one of the problems, myself was one of the problems. I wasn't there for white America. You know what I mean? I was there fighting white America and blacks who I'm like the young kid out in New York, right? And I'm gonna do a show on him. The young kid was being chased and he turns around. I don't know if he was a kid. He just seemed young, right? He turns around and basically shoots four people. And so, in my opinion, that was self defense. You know what I mean? That's just how I see it. And so the system doesn't reward you for self-defense, just like the grocery store, guy who, basically killed the dude for coming in there and you know, trying to abuse him. Hey, you get what the hell you deserve. That's how I feel. So I'm not your typical criminal, right? Um, at a news conference, Edwards stressed that the Angola move is temporary, just to give them a hard time, aimed to reduce the population at the troubled bridge city until more secure youth facilities can be built or renovated. Basically, like I said, they trying to have, shake these young kids up. The state has too many teens in its care to consider closing Bridge City entirely, he said. Right? I understand that this is not the perfect or ideal plan, Edward said, but I do believe that the situation demands an immediate response, and these are the best options we have currently have to ensure the safety of the youth and staff in the community. Roughly 25 teens will be housed in a building near the entrance of the massive Angola complex as soon as next month. 25 teams. So they're, if they can't break them one way, break them another. After some renovations, Edwards said the building will be overseen and staffed by employees of the state's Office of Juvenile Justice, OJJ. Stop it, right? They will not have contact with adult inmates and will continue to receive all the services they currently receive through OJJ, including education, Edwards said. The federal laws require that juveniles be separated by both sight and sound from adult prisoners. The goal of the juvenile justice system is to rehabilitate the youth so they can return to their communities, not to punish them. The teens are outside getting exercise. If teens are outside getting exercise, he asked, how will the state make sure they don't encounter prisoners called trustees who do the bulk of the work to maintain the buildings and grounds at Angola and prepare and deliver food? Great question. They're asking us to just trust them that they're doing this legally and properly, Leonard says. But he noticed that both the Office of Juvenile Justice and the State Department of Public Safety and Corrections have troubled histories. Both have been subject of federal investigations and in recent decades due to civil rights violations. They have to show us how they plan to meet the requirements of these laws, not just say, oh, it's a separate building, trust us. That's not going to work. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to work. Nobody in their right mind is supposed to say, okay, yeah, you have, like I said, if anybody who knows the corrections, period. If anybody has a understanding, you see the movies, you're here now, you this, the speeches and all of that they make in the movies. Whether they make their speeches, I never received no speech like that. But that same sentiment, that same expression is still given to you. During Tuesday's news conference, state officials in Angola prison will not will not be providing maintenance or other services in the reception center building where the teens will be housed. Instead, the state is offering housing on or near the Angola campus for juvenile staff who agree to temporarily relocate to the penitentiary in a revival stretch of northern Louisiana near the Mississippi line. The remote prison, a former plantation surrounded surrounded on three sides by the Mississippi River, is about 2.5 hours from New Orleans. A former plantation, right there alone. I had to highlight that because I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? A former plantation. You know what I mean? This is clearly white America being white America. That's mighty white of you, right? In terms of the question regarding the cleaning, staffing, and education offerings, this will be managed by OJJ and not corrections. Kristen Stevens, a spokeswoman for Edwards, wrote in an email. DOC has found a place to house the youth, but OJJ will be in charge of their care. The youth will be in the OJJ system. They will simply be temporarily housed elsewhere. I wouldn't doubt that this was a feminist movement either. I wouldn't doubt that, shit, people like her came up with the idea. Oh, yeah, they try for, send them to where the adults is. Let them learn a lesson. I'm just saying, I don't know. Just speculation, right? I don't like to speculate, but I'm doing it now. Last year, hamstrung by severe staffing issues in the juvenile facility, a state responsible to violence and escapes by quietly moving teens and considered troublemakers into the Academian Center for Youth in St. Martinsville. Boys as young as 14 were held there in solitary confinement nearly around the clock for weeks and were deprived of education and other legally required services. You would have to be a fool to think that these people, if not questioned, is up to some bullshit, right? An investigation by NBC News and Marshall Project and ProPublica discovered that the teens who were shackled with handcuffs and leg irons when they left their cells to shower, I've been in this situation, responded violently, hurling feces at guards and using broken pieces of bed and light fixtures to hack holes in their cells large enough to escape. Listen, I've been on, I'll say for 30 months. I was incarcerated for 30 months. And in those 30 months, I did 24 of them in a supermax prison where I had to use handcuffs and all of that to go to the shower, right? 23 in one lockdown. I know this system. I know, I was there for inciting a riot, right? So you just understand, one part. Me, that's when I said I read, like shit, damn near a book a day, provided it was like a 300, page book in that range. I was reading like that in a day and a half. I wasn't having that silly joint. I wasn't with that. I just wanted to be, but by myself. Even though when there they had the 2-man cells, nah, I'm not with it. You know what I mean? I'm just not with it. At one point, they would even ask me before they try to put me, like, would you be alright with this person? I might give it a shot. Won't work. Shit, 2 days later, nah, get me up out of here or get him up out of here, whatever the case may be. But nah, I gotta be in a single cell. I can't do this. You know what I mean? The investigation helped lead to the passage of a new law limiting solitary confinement for juveniles in Louisiana that goes into effect next month. That's odd that, you have a new law going into effect and this is what you're trying to do. Bill Summers, head of OJJ, acknowledges in a a legislative hearing that he was not satisfied with how the facility was being run. This year, the state tried sending some of the teens it had troubled with to facilities in Alabama and other states, but they were sent back after an altercation landed a staff member in the hospital. First of all, how is that legal? For you to send these are juveniles who are supposed to have at least contact with their family. You want these people to return to society. Now you're telling them that they're so bad that you're sending them to other states where they have no like outreach. Are you serious? Right? In their last efforts, Louisiana officials say the teens will be housed in the reception center, a building near the entrance to the Angola campus that has had various uses over the years. Most recently, it housed female prisoners who were displaced when the women's prison flooded. Before that, it got its reception center named by briefly housing inmates that they arrived at Angola decades ago. Two former prisoners and an advocate said the facility housed death row inmates. Stevens said it was her understanding that the teens would not be housed in the same area that they had been used for death row, but she noted that the move hasn't happened yet and mainly details are still being worked out. Oh, y'all better work that out. Y'all better work that out. She's jumping to it. You gotta watch these feminists. You gotta watch these feminist black people. You gotta watch the feminists, okay? That's all I'm telling you. Louisiana Department of Public Safety and Corrections referred questions to the governor's office. The Office of Juvenile Justice responded to questions by sending a link to the governor's new conference. Rachel again, Gassert, an advocate with the Louisiana Center for Children's Rights, which filed a complaint that documented the state's failure to provide education for the first several months after St. Martinsville opened. Questions whether the state can actually provide service like special education at Angola. In the past, we have seen that the state has failed to provide the services that they supposed to give them. She said of the teens in state lockups, failure to give them an education failed to keep them or the people around them safe. And this is just another step in the wrong direction towards creating worse outcomes for these kids and for the community that they are going to return to. Advocates and experts say it's clear that Louisiana needs to do something to respond to the crisis and put a stop to escapes, but argues that moving teens to Angola is not the answer. It's cruel, said Holt, the former Louisiana Juvenile Justice Office. He said that informing teens they're headed to the infamous state prison accused of abuse, brutality, where an inmate died this week following a fight with another prisoner, would cause mental anguish with young people who are already traumatized. I stand by that. You are trying, like I said, this sounds like one of those, those parents, yeah, they do this and then you gonna play around. Them women who promote that homosexuality and all of that in the prison, yeah, when they do this to you in there. And this is why I said it sounds like that feminist mentality, right? All of a sudden, like you can't be a man when you go in there and hold your own. And so this is the type of trauma that they are putting on these young kids. The vast majority of youth in the Louisiana juvenile justice system are black teens, including many who have mental health issues, and have experienced trauma. Louisiana is among the majority of states that have dramatically reduced the number of juveniles in custodies, meaning the ones who remain are those with the greatest needs. If the state wants to put an end to violence in its facilities, it needs to support these teens, not just lock them up behind higher walls, said Melissa Sick Mound. Sorry if I didn't get that name right. I respect this lady. The director of National Center of Juvenile Justice, which is the research division of the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. You are having escapes and fights. Why? She said. The facility is such a bad place that kids are desperate to get away from it. If we're trying to rehabilitate kids, they can't be treated like that. The conditions of these confinements needs to improve. And I agree. Listen, in New York, right? I would like I've been locked up in a couple of states, right? So I'm gonna tell you, um in New York, I know they passed. It might be everywhere because I can think of a few states. New York, I know they passed uh, a um a law probably like 10, 12, 15 years ago that you can't be incarcerated for X amount. I mean, you can't be put in a box for X amount of time. In Connecticut, I know they passed a similar bill, right? Like I told you, I was in a supermax in Connecticut, so I know, hey, Georgia, right? In Georgia, there's this law, um where, cause I remember when I was in Rice Street, right? It was like they was trying to have like three people in a cell in the middle of the summer. Man, we started breaking out. I was teaching people how to use, the combs to pop the locks on the doors to basically get out the cell. Hey, man, when you are a certain mentality, you gonna find a way. And I remember was the captain or one of them calling us all in the gym, right? And who y'all think y'all are? Yada yada yada. Like, hey, bro, You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's just what it is, bro. You not gonna have us, inside these conditions. First of all, it's hot. Those are small cells. The way the cells was, it was like two bunk beds, like two beds here, and then another bed on this side. So, that cell was like one bed here, and then, two over here. I don't know who you think is willing to take this type of treatment. Right now, the CEO, he was getting mad over something and he closed the doors. Oh, like I said, you have these people who are malicious, right? And so they'll use these things to get at you. And so the system will justify the CEO on putting you in these extreme conditions, but then try to lecture you on you not willing to take it. Listen, I'm not taking it. You might as well just murder me if you think I'm gonna stand here and die of heat exhaustion and all of that. Hey, we can get it popping. We can do whatever needs to be done right now. But if you thinking that I'm gonna go into this situation and take that fucking abuse, then you got another thing coming. And I'm an adult, and I'm telling you, I'm not going for that. So I can understand these children who you already psychologically screwed. You already told them all of this. Your system called movies, your system of music and TV and these type of things. Your system of schooling, your system gave all of these messages. Sure, you hire or you find those who have already been influenced by the message to put out the message. That's what you do. You find those who have already been in. That's how you can see how the music changed. Now you supporting the smash keyboard crew and the female, right? So now hip hop is feminine and keyboard crew. And those people who's putting out the message were those who was already influenced by it. So then you can leave your hands clean because you could say, wait a minute, y'all putting it out. No, you selected those who have already been influenced. Anybody who know me will tell you, I got bars. I write. I can still spit it, metaphors and all of that to this day, right? But I refused even back then to be a part of that system because I didn't want to promote that. Not everybody can take that higher ground, right? Not everybody can be looked at as the strange person. Yo, you bugging? Why wouldn't? Hey, bro, and not many people can say, nah, they wasn't a fan of Mobb Deep because they wasn't approving of the message. Not many people can say one of their favorite artists is Tupac. I couldn't even listen to During All Eyes on Me and Me Against the World because it went against the message. Not many people can say no, they was not a fan of Biggie's first album because of all of the conflict. But when his second album dropped, hey, I purchased it three times. That's how good I felt that album was. So when people hear me and they go, "Oh nah, Ready to Die," when I say I wasn't a fan of Ready to Die, they automatic. Oh, because I tell them I like Pac, they assume that there's this hatred for Biggie. Like, nah, man, yo, his second album was that official. So people cannot break their minds and separate the two. They assume that if you're not one, if you're not Republican, you're a Democrat. If you're not a Christian, you're a Muslim. If you're not Muslim, then you woke and you're, spiritual. And nah, man, I stand away from all of that. If it's not conducive to the people, and if it feels like I'm gonna have to participate and be viewed and used by the devil as, aha, see, I told you. I already did that for them. They already got, oh, he did this, he did that. And so I'm not the voice, but I use these, the example of, oh, so Minister Society Kane. Oh, so you smart. Hey, bro. Hey, I'm the dude who's gonna come back and handle that business. I'm the dude running from the crowd, and if you get too close, I'm gonna turn around and let loose, because if you get me, then I'm gonna be in the same position that I'm gonna put each one of you. And in a world where they already set the chaos up for us, where you gonna go? Either you gonna be a victim of the circumstance, or you gonna be a victim of the circumstance. Meaning that either you gonna be the guy on the news that's dead and be a victim of, your community. Right? Pardon me. Like, either that you gonna be this victim of your community, or you are going to be a victim of um black on black, and defending yourself or defending somebody else, and your people are gonna have decisions about you, even though they will promote, oh, if I was in that situation, I would do this. I'm not having that. But the minute you wind up, either way, you just hang. That's the rock and the hard place for black people. So I'm gonna take the what is it, judged by 12 than carried by 6, because at least I can be here today and tell you where the situation was, versus believing that, while I gotta care about some devil's, narrative about me, and or the devil worshipers, because the minute you point them out, oh, you a white worshiper, they're gonna automatically try to find a way to make you the villain. So I'd rather be the villain of Moses. I'd rather be the Lamech villain. You know what I mean? Hey, this person did something to me and I had to handle it. I'd rather be the villain of, you violated my ancestors and I'm not having that. I'm gonna promote to each one of my people, be that Moses villain. Don't be the Cain villain. Don't be the one out there trying to enslave your people and do wrong and this, that, and the third to your people. Be the one where, even if it's your people trying to take you down, take them down. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I talk to everybody with a level of respect. But if you come at me in a certain type of way, just believe I'm willing, what I'm saying, to die or have it happen to you before it happens to me. I told you I've been in supermax prisons, I've been in max prisons, I've been all up and down this East Coast in jail. You know what I mean? I'm not having it. I got multiple weapons possession charges. I am not having it. And I tell anybody, now the problem is we need to end the conflict in our community through these youth. We need to explain to them, like I said, what hypnotism, mesmerism is, and the Scottish rite and these things, and explain to them that there's a trick being played on your brain. We need to no longer let, like me, when my son was little, I didn't believe in TV. I didn't buy my son toys that he can play with on his own. I was playing with puppets and making the whole show for him, interacting with him, knowing what I am putting into him, monitoring what he watches. That's the type of person I am. Whether somebody tells you something different, I got all the evidence to show you what type of person I truly am. Because those people would spread these things because they know that's not them. They wasn't diligent like that. I'm an overseer of my people, and sometimes you know what your people are capable of. These people, these young youth, are damaged. They are damaged by society. You know, the mind games. We are split between, oh yeah, I would do this, and nah, you shouldn't do that, you know, because you'll go to these places and you know how that is. We are a split society of white worshipers and white worshipers, and on two sides. The white worshiper of violence is willing to do everything that white America has done to you to get out of you what white America has got out of you. Then we got white America, oh, life and Big Bubba in there. Hey, I ain't never run across none of that. Not to say that there wasn't that stuff there, but it wasn't. If you know a person and you know what a person stands on, they know not to bring that around you or even have that out there. You understand what I'm saying? So all of that, imagery that they place in there, there are two type of mentalities. Three. One who's willing to do it to you, one, that will have it done to them, and then there's, yo, don't play with me like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say, I do this for them. I do this for these children. I do this for these adults. I do this for our people. And understand that there's a cycle that's being played. When we say the system, I'm here to point out that system. Not, just the government, the system that's doing it all up here. The system of the double talkers in your own community playing both sides of the fence. A system of those in your community who white worship and will do anything to you so they can get close to white America, to wear the Gucci, the Fendi, you know what I'm saying? And then it's those who see you with it and want to take it off of you. We are in a fucking a spin cycle of all of the nonsense, and so every once in a while, like we have, a people that knows that I have to do these things to survive, but not that I want to do it. You know what I mean? Like I've sold drugs and never tried to get rich, just enough to pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? Get a car, have some gas in it, and go about my business. Most of the rest of the time, like I said, I was up in Connecticut, pardon me here. I was up in Connecticut, you know what I mean? And I could pull out thousands of people who, I've literally, tried to look out for, maybe in the sense of helping them in that field, but it was damn sure never to promote any type of crazy chaos stuff. And even while you doing that, not to say it's not gonna come to you and you're not me, not gonna handle my business. Moved out of New York for the same reason. Moved out of Virginia for the same reason. Moved out of Connecticut for the same reason. Had to leave all of them places behind due to the fact that you believe in that maybe there's some place where the people are not bent on destroying each other. And sure, everybody will tell you, oh yeah, man, listen. Man, listen. Do this for the youth, and don't just do it for the youth, do it for the adults, do it for all of the people who are trying to break the cycle. Every video that you see me put out and certain and all of those informations, it's truly there to learn how to break the cycle. Take you out of Babylon. Take you out of this world of confusion, talking you in circles. While they're setting up a system and constantly destroying you. This is why I do it. I don't do it for nothing else. I don't. You see me? I don't. Yo, hit the like. Yo, hit the subscribe. Yo, get. I don't do none of that. If you want to do that, if you find what I say to be good, you do that on your own. If you want to support me, I told you go to my page where you can get the go to my shop and get something, but you take something with it. You want to give to me, cool, but every time you can always get something from it. Pass the message on to somebody else. That's it. I don't want nothing else. I don't want it for no other reason but that reason. So, you just don't see me say it. I've written a book, check out my book, Street Skills, knock 'em out the box. Go on Amazon, you can pick up the book. You want to support me, you do those things. I'm not telling you to hit the notification, hit the like, you do that because, shit, by now, every other video done told you to do it. If, if you don't know how to do that by now, if you don't want to keep up with this information, then cool. It's not for me. It's not for you. And it's not for me to impose that on you. I'm not here gonna cause no conflicts within the people. I'm not doing that. I've been all over this map. I can go on for days and days. I tell you about the gang activities. I know the dudes who founded, that stuff in New York. You don't hear me talking about them. You don't hear me, listen, I got locked up in 92 to 93. So I can tell you all of the people, the founders and all of that. I was representing that way before they were. And you don't hear me talking about that. That is not an issue. I don't even name it. I don't even, if you know, you know. If not, that's on you. I don't care. I told you, I named the stuff like, yeah, when they took the little shoe polish on those black kids, we went to Columbus High School. You look those articles. As a matter of fact, I'll do a show on that. You can see, I took kids from 3 high schools. Um, 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 Evander Childs, Clinton High School, and Truman High School. And we went over to Columbus High School and got it popping. That's just how it is. Always was. When Corey Wise going to Central Park, we was them type of dudes, not the rapist dude, but we were them dudes going out there, getting them white people. So my information and my dedication to this, just because you see everybody inside the same place, do not mean that they the same people. Some of us just stand on the side and be like, nah, I'm good. I'm G enough where I can stand on my own. I'm G enough where I could stand on my own. I didn't need to, necessarily, not to say I've rejected people, but whenever it was time, you knew my principles, morals was this. So if you gonna stand by me, if you gonna be on that over there, I can't stop you, but don't have me around that. Don't think if you bullshitting and lying that I'm not gonna call you on it. Don't think if you attempting to do some sucky shit, I'm not gonna go hold up a minute. Whoa, chill, what you doing? Don't think that I'm not that dude. I'm that dude. You understand what I'm saying? That's me. So with that, you know what I'm saying, I did this show right here specifically for these young kids because I understand what they are going through. When I read the part about the shower, the handcuffs and shackles, I've been through that. Look up SRG threat member. You know what I mean? Not just a gang member, but a threat member. Somebody that they feel can get things happening. I was in a riot in New York state prison. Got sent from a medium to a maximum prison. Got sent to Attica. Inciting a riot, same thing. So 2 states, you know what I mean? I got weapons possessions, all of that. So what I'm saying is, here go a youth who understood, the Tupac messages, the public enemies, the poor righteous teachers, the Paris, from, like I said, I'm naming people from all over, the Ice Cubes, the King T's, just on and on. Like, this was what I listened to. I didn't go, okay, because he's from over here, I got a problem and I can't relate. Listen, if you are talking the struggle, I related to you. If you came up to me and I was selling drugs and you said let me get two for 15, I'm like, nah, I need two. I need 16 or 17. And you know why I'm saying that? Not because I cared about it, because it gave me a chance to give you a message. While I'm giving you that, I'm breaking down all of this other stuff, not even putting you down on your use of drugs. I never violated anybody on a way of trying to escape. Like, that's not me. I have a mother who, was abusive, messed up my whole family behind drugs, but still I would not, you know, um look at the people and judge them because I understand that there was an outside source that caused. You see this right here? Look at this. See that? This is me, 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old, right? All up here. The burn right here all came all up my arm. You know what I mean? I can be here all day breaking it. Look at this. Look at this. See this finger? Hand broken. All before 5. You know what I mean? But I still never judged, enough to hold this accountability of just pure hate. Now, if I see a wicked type woman, shit, I don't have no love for you. I don't make no excuses for you. You need to check yourself. But at the same time, I'm not a gender basher. I'm not a man against women. I don't promote none of that stuff. Because the unification is to call out the negative within our people. Not all of our people just fit this category. That's not reality. We have good people who's been put. I remember a homeboy of mine. He went to jail when he came home. Matter of fact, when he was in jail, he kind of was mad at me. I wasn't with him, but when he called, he had said something that I didn't relate to. You know what I mean? But I never held no grudges. Always looked out. You know what I mean? So when he came home, he was telling me, yo, he was making this statement like he basically felt bad, or not even felt bad, like saying he was sorry. And I'm like, nah, bro, the person, that you killed was on that path. Now, whether he didn't get a chance to, take back what he was on. The fact of the matter is, when people playing that game, that's what's gonna happen to him. He had to shake his head and he understood. Like, listen, man, I'm not here for that. You ain't gotta be apologetic to me. If you really sorry, then do what you need to do to be apologetic. But if not, don't be just because you think that's what society wants to hear. I don't want to hear it. Not on that level, but I understood the position you was in. So you don't have to be sorry to me. Like I told you, there are a lot of people on the, oh, so you think you're smart? There's a lot of people who would jump you and think that, it's nothing, like you can't die from that jump. So if you wind up having to, like, I always been a straight up dude, with the fisticuffs. You know what I mean? I fought cops. You know what I mean? I got kicked out of two different high schools for fighting cops. I got kicked out of my high school, my senior high school, for a jump. But I truly, I didn't participate in it. I really did not want that person. That's why I seen him, after that, and we didn't have a beef. He probably was a little angry with me, but he know deep inside I didn't want nobody to jump him. They just jumped him because I was known. You understand what I'm saying? So I've never been, the image that is painted. You know why? Because I've always rolled alone. So there's never was no way for me or even a reason for me to have to make an excuse. So these young youth, man, care about them. Care about the adults. Care about these old people going crazy out there and doing all of this crazy stuff right now because, it's being told to them. They don't know how to keep the devil out their mind. Teach them about hypnotism. Teach them about mesmerism. Teach them about the charlatan and the con man who's working that system on them. Teach them about double talk. Teach them about suggestion. Look this up yourself. Learn this stuff yourself. Learn it yourself so that way it can be easy for you to explain it to somebody else. Peace.